My name's Chris Carbone. Today I wanted to get started so that we can move things along. You can get the information that I want to convey to you, and we can do it in a timely manner so that I could ever be asked back. You know what I mean? So that's always good. Yeah, had you been here live, you would have gotten a lot of cool goodies, and you could always run over to the school, and I can get it to you before the end of this presentation if you wish. So let's get right into it. So you came here or you decided to log in on Zoom primarily because the topic at hand interests you. We are talking about out-of-the-box marketing for real estate. Now, one would say, Chris, you're not even in real estate. How can you talk about such a topic? And I think that's a very valid concern. But let me give you a little bit of backstory. So if you want to go one slide, this is me looking fantastic. I own a company, it's called Renew Restoration, but I'm not here to promote Renew Restoration, although I will just acknowledge what it is that we do, just so you understand. I am a mold testing, mold remediation company. I've been in the category for 16 years. I've owned this company for 10 years. If you look us up online, and I implore you to do so, you will find hundreds upon hundreds of five-star reviews. That's all we get are five-star reviews. And I want you to know we mostly are going to be utilized for testing or remediation of mold as it relates to real estate transactions. And I also am pretty good at deodorizing houses that stink. Okay, so with that in mind, I created a business around a model that was basically geared towards real estate agents and those two things, testing for mold and remediation of mold and deodorizing. And in that, I've been able to survive all kinds of challenges everyone in business has encountered. But I also want you to know that I know the marketing piece and I know the sales piece of things as well, because I've been selling since I came out of the womb. I mean, like, it was an awkward experience for both the doctor and my mom, I'm certain. So like, I started in Manhattan doing New York City marketing. I worked with really small boutique advertising companies. And then I've also worked for the largest media company in the world that's called CBS and everything in between. So my information for you on how to do non-traditional out-of-box thinking for marketing comes from a actual 10 years of doing it in the field for clients, big companies, and for myself for my very small company. So I think somewhere in there, you're going to find a couple of nuggets that I hope you can take with you and go, wow, I can do this. I think you can do a lot of stuff that most people are not doing. And I really implore you to push the boundaries. Most people think I got to just do it conservatively. And I totally get it. I used to be super buttoned up. In CBS, I had to wear a suit every day, even if it was July. And I understand being principled enough to always present with putting your best foot forward. But sometimes I realized that I was most likable when I would let my hair down, so to speak. When you are able to chat with people and talk to them about their kids, get right into like what is funny going on in your life, that's when it actually becomes a real relationship. Everything before that seems too stoic. So what I try to do is use marketing techniques to lower people's concern that I'm going to be really stuffy or I'm going to try to sell you something. So some of the giveaways that you have here are just my ideas of like, hey, I want you to remember me, and I really want that old Pez dispenser to sit on your desk so you'll remember that guy who taught me some marketing principles. Maybe I should use his services. That would be the hope, right? And it would have longer term impact than something that would be given away. So if you think about it, like if you just have a business card or you just have a trifold brochure, that's very transactional, but it's also very disposable. So start thinking about things that have some longevity, okay? So let's get right into it. Hit me with the next slide. Got it.
Also, your camera bound to the front of that table.
Oh, can people not see me? I'm looking here. Is this not working? Should I be talking like this?
It is. Just
okay, stand here. Okay, got it. Look at, I don't take direction very well. Okay, so in my industry, it's very cluttered. In your industry, I would say it's even more so, right? You guys are fighting for a very finite amount of real estate. Like your biggest challenge is, well, the mortgage thing didn't help. But the second thing is there's nothing to sell, right? Like I'm aware of that. So how do you differentiate in a very cluttered environment? That's something you've been thinking about, right? So you can only talk about service so much. Service is something that's a little nebulous. It's hard to like say, I'm so much better because I give great service. Hard to quantify. There's not a metric for that. So like maybe we have to do things to push your face and your image to the forefront so they only can think about those images as opposed to just this person's only service forwarded. So I would rather in a room full of zebras, I'd rather be the one that's standing out. That's what this slide is all about. Next. Cool. And the slide did mention, and I think it's worth mentioning, there's more transactions that happened in the previous years than in the current year. So what are you going to do when it's a shrinking market of houses and you still have to sell? And there's still more and more people coming into real estate every year. So you always have to be dominant as much as you can so that you can be in the forefront of their minds. That's the consumer's mind I'm referencing here. So back to this. I wanted to start out by giving you not one, but two really good out of the box ideas that I want you to think. I am thinking about your business. I totally empathize with you. And if I can give you some good ideas right from the outset, maybe you'll listen to the rest of it. That's what I was thinking. So I love this website. Well, first of all, before I go to the website, here. This particular slide basically states that attorneys that work with probate could be an awesome market to focus on. Now, if you don't know probate very well, my parents just happen to be attorneys. They're not probate attorneys, but in talking to them, they said, if I were getting into real estate, I'd really focus on the people that are dealing with estates all the time, because not many people are thinking about that very specific niche. Because think about it, if somebody were to pass, whether it was something that was early onset or something that was unplanned, the estate, whether it be the husband, if they're the remaining partner, or the children, which is more common, have to do something with the house. Not every child wants the house. So now there's opportunities where real estate is involved in an estate and now needs to be settled out. So if you could get to know all the probate attorneys that are in Northern New Jersey, and there are a lot of them, the next slide shows, I did a little bit of research, and if you use something called Data Axle, also known as Sales Genie, that's just one database framework that you might want to consider. It gives all kinds of information, which includes business name, business telephone number, email addresses of contacts, and address as to where they are. You can look specifically for probate attorneys that specialize in that in a certain county or a certain region of New Jersey. In this example, I used 5 counties and it pulled up 80 probate attorneys. And here are some of them just to prove it. Some are in West Orange, Fairfield, Edgewater, Fairview, and so on. My plan is I would try to do a threefold approach. I would use telephone, call some of these people, use a mailing, because mailing people still works despite the fact nobody wants to believe that, and also email them. Try to get an appointment. Try to show them that you are a specialist and you are focused on the estate market, and that's what your specialty is. I find there's riches in niches. Does anyone agree with that concept? Yeah. So like when you get really good at something, whether it be I sell condos and I only sell in this area, if you get really good at it, you become the default person who do condos. If other people are doing secondary homes that are in Florida, then that's fine, right? Like you just gotta find your niche. I think that's one niche that you could focus on right away. Next slide. Second idea out of the box. So here's the concern. Many people are in housing situations that are long-term care facilities and hospices. Now, a hospice is the final stage of one's life, but long-term care facility is just before that. If anyone knows anyone in long-term care, or if you've ever had to buy long-term care insurance because the inevitable is that it's going to cost between $6,000 and $10,000 per month, depending on where you live in the country, it's a very expensive endeavor. Let's say you're going to stay in that long-term care facility for 2 years, right? That can wipe out a lot of people's savings. But I'm not talking about that today. What I want you to focus on, think about all the long-term care facilities that exist. There's a ton of them. There are many of them that you've heard of because they have multiple branches. If you switch to the next slide, here's using Sales Genie. I pulled up 17 of the different ones that are relatively close by. Arbor Glen, At Home with Van Dyke, Broadway House for Continuing Care, Care One. Has anyone heard of Care One? They got like so many facilities in Florida, in New Jersey. I was just in Florida, but I don't know why I'm talking about it. But then there's other ones that fall into this category. They are just popping up everywhere, right? So what if you were to get in with Care One and you want to show them that we could do presentations, we can speak to your clients. Now those clients are kind of twofold. The clients could be the actual people that are patients there, but they could be the parents the children who care for them. Wouldn't it be nice to do a talk saying, hey, you should start planning for the future. I'd love to handle your real estate. Just another niche that people aren't going after. Because I'm trying to answer the question, if I were a real estate agent, what would I go after, since you don't see a lot of material, there's not a lot of inventory. So create inventory is the hope here. Next, here's the game plan, my layout. I did it in a fashion I thought was clever. We're looking at it as if it was the framework of a house layout. We are going to harness some social media platforms today, craft your distinct personal brand, use storytelling, embrace guerrilla marketing, and think beyond the box. Got it. Do you guys have a brand? Do you like brands? Do you recognize these brands? Here's just 3 brands that I think of when I think of the US companies that are really big. Even though the label's not on it, do we know what this is? It's what? Pepsi, of course, yeah. Some smart Alex said Coca-Cola just to mess with me. Yeah. Apple. I'll tell you something. I've owned an Apple phone ever since I've had an Apple phone. I've never changed Apple. I am so locked in with Apple. You could tell me they're going to give a free phone and I won't buy it. I'll go with an Apple phone. I am so brand loyal. But some people are that way with detergent. Like there's the Tide people, there's the Gain people. I don't care if it's on sale. They're still going to buy Tide or Gain. Why do I bring this up? Because in the next slide, I want to mention, what is your brand? Everyone has a brand, or everyone should have a brand. You want to exemplify certain characteristics that the public who are getting to know you, the public that do know you, start to attribute to you. It's hard to do. It's easier to do with Pepsi and Tide money, hard to do when you have your own budget. I'm aware of that. But start thinking about how your brand is going to be shaped. So in this example, these are 3 people I happen to know in real estate. I'm not biased, but I do like their branding. First of all, does anyone know Orly? Orly Steinberg is the biggest real estate agent in my town. I live in Ringwood. I have 4 sons. It's craziness in my household. But Orly, I know personally and I know professionally. She's really good up there, but her only Orly motto is everywhere. I think you should start thinking about how you can use your name to help represent you so people remember you. Second one is Weichert. Does anyone know this guy, Ryan Dawson? He does wear this bow tie. I've known Ryan Dawson, though we both live in New Jersey now. I'm from Coral Springs, Florida. That kid was in Coral Springs, Florida. He went to my school. We graduated together. That dude wore that look back then. I mean, the guy is always rocked a bow tie. He wears the little patches on the, he's old school, right? But it works for him. And all of his marketing shows this kind of old school thing. He's always in like a drinking jacket or something. Oh, in fact, I'm gonna wear this because I'm gonna wear my own jacket. I want you to think I really dressed it up for you people. I forgot to take this off, and it is warm. I was thinking if we're gonna do out of the box marketing, I might as well be out of the box, right? Try to have a little bit of fun. And then finally, Chopper. Chopper does a lot of stuff up in this neck of the woods. He's an Oakland guy, Remax guy, sells a lot of real estate. In his first year, he sold a lot of real estate, but he's always implementing his dog. His dog's almost in all of his branding. I'm not saying you need a dog because it does kind of look that way in these 2. This is just a rare situation where you see a dog only because he's tied in the bow tie. But think about your brand and how you might be able to make a visual impact, because when you're flying by on a highway and all you see is this guy and his dog, or maybe it's a billboard and it looks like this, you want a quick read message and start thinking about what that brand might look like. Next one. So here's an interesting thing. I think many people do this. Like their branding kind of looks a little like this. Now, this young guy doesn't know what I'm talking about, but they used to have things that looked like this. It was like, it would just say beer, like white can beer. You know that's cheap, right? Luncheon loaf. You don't even know what that is. I promise you it's not good. I just assure you. But what I'm saying is some people don't think about the branding, right? They just like beer. I think this is what some people kind of do with their own marketing. If you only bought a business card and you say I'm in business, I would question whether or not you're really in business. I'm just saying, just my perspective. I think you should start putting more money. Like if you sell something, I think you should take a certain percentage of that sale and use it to put right back in your business. It seems counterintuitive, but I promise you it makes sense in all business. So start thinking about the things that you are giving away. Go ahead. Next. All right. So I like this quote. In fact, I love Einstein. In fact, if you notice, I'm wearing Einstein hand-painted shoes. Like what? Nobody's doing that. But if you do what everybody else does, expect what everyone else has. Do you believe that's a fair statement?
Yeah.
It's totally true. People say, you get what you pay for. You know what also is true? You get what you don't pay for. Same thing. So to expect the world to come to you when you're not doing much to give back to the world, I'm wondering whether or not that seems fair. I think sometimes they would say that's kind of crazy to expect a different result, right? So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. First of all, who likes cold calling? Nobody. Nobody likes cold calling. All right. How about cold knocking? Anyone knocking on doors? Have you ever done it? You have. You loved it so much you said, I will never do that again. You know what's crazy? People in their beginning part of their career, and I'm going to say this is a little bit of an older concept. That's fine. I'm almost 50. I'm with you, but just much older. Knocking on people's doors, getting in front of them sounds horrible, but it is so effective. I am not lying to you. I still to this day go into offices whom I don't know. Like I knocked on a Terry O'Connor office and let them know that I'm in this industry and handed them a really nice marketing material. And I started chatting and how can I get in front of your office? I'd love to talk to your group. That only worked because I did that. But to say it's painful is only to me means you haven't done it enough. If you've done it a couple times and it kind of went sucky, well, then maybe you didn't do it enough. I'm just being fair, but I'm not saying you have to, but keep in mind that still exists and people will answer your response. And sometimes people don't find it to be intrusive. And because it's so seldom done, it also makes it more novel. Just throwing that out. But mass mailings are good. Who uses social media to post all their stuff? That seems like what everyone does. That's your thing? Some? Okay. Layering. Okay. I don't mind social media, but I want it to have a purpose. That seems weird. Like just to say the same thing in a different way doesn't make that much sense. But comparatively, what if you were to do this? I like this idea. If people continue in my industry to ask the same types of questions, like, oh my gosh, why do we get mold in our attic on the sheeting? Like if that was the question, I would remember that. Then I would do a social media blog on answering the questions that I'm hearing all the time. So in your industry, it'd be different, right? Your industry would be like, what do we do about the mortgage situation right now? Let's talk about that very thing and how we can get beyond it. Because I think all the questions that you keep getting, you're piling away and you've got a good knee-jerk reaction to answer it, but do it on a social media platform so you seem like the informed party that really just kind of knows the information. So try that instead of just going, another listing. Like a lot of people do the same thing. Another listing, it happens to be down the block. I don't know if that's always the best. 4 better options to consider than banging your head against the wall. Does anyone go to networking events? You do? Like it? Do you like them?
I do.
Okay.
Well, the networking. Raise your hand.
She's like, I don't want to raise my hand. I don't want nothing to do with this guy. Oh, if you want, I should have said this from the beginning. If anyone wants, this entire presentation can be just emailed to you. So you don't have to write notes. You don't have to photograph because my dumb face is in all of them. So you don't want that. But networking events can be great. Targeting online advertising can be really good. Is anyone using targeted online advertising? Sometimes that can be done through like a platform like Zillow, but sometimes it can be done just using Google, sometimes just through Facebook. Advertising for a specific niche that you care about in a specific targeted area, geo-targeted area, like just Bergen County, doesn't get so expensive because you're making the niche really narrow. The other thing to keep in mind is you can also change the age demographic. The more you shave away from it, the cheaper it is for the advertising. So if you come to realize that most of your real consumer base is 50 to 60, I'm just making it up, and they're mostly women, and they're mostly in northern Bergen County, well, then that's all you really need to advertise. Does that make sense? Secondly, we're done. That's fine. That's cool.
There you go.
Client relationship marketing. Do you guys use CRM tools? Things like keeping on top of your database of current customers or ones you've prospected to? Because the thing I realize is you may not get them on the first try, but you want to keep them in the hopper, and you have to have some kind of CRM tool to like stay on top of it. The other thing that works wildly successfully if you do this is if you have a CRM of all of your clients and prospects, sending them birthday cards or wedding cards or their kids' birthday cards. Some people go to the extreme, and you would say, oh, that seems ridiculous. I'll give you one such example locally. A woman in Sparta writes out between 1,500 and 2,000 Christmas/holiday cards every year. And you would say, that sounds like a lot. She hand writes them. She starts, I think, like in October or something like that. They're finishing them all. And she says almost all of her business comes from all of that work. And if you think about it, it makes some sense. If somebody's willing to hand write something to you, they care about you, they still want to stay in contact with you, and they might be remembered a lot easier than something you might blast in an email. So sometimes having a good tool like that and a means of following up with those people makes a tremendous amount of sense, even though it's going to take some time. You could always hire somebody to help you. If you got 4 kids like I do, they got to work. You know what I'm saying? They got to work. Next, what do we got? Oh, is this just for fun? This is my just for fun?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, just for fun. What color is a yield sign? Yellow. Cool. What color is a yellow yield sign? Any color. I love that. No. What color is a yield sign? Yellow.
I'm gonna say yellow.
Yellow. Anyone want to? What you want to say? Yellow?
Red.
Yeah.
You just jumped on the bandwagon. You did not want to say yellow. I can tell. You want to say yellow? Can anyone else have another idea? White. White.
Red.
Red. You're all over the place. It was anything. It was white and then it was red. Well, you're
It's white
closer at
red.
the end. This is what a yield sign looks like. Ready? And what shape is it? It's a triangle. Go. This is what it used to look like. In 1971, they changed it to this. Isn't that crazy? We old people still remember what we first saw. There's a psychological term for it. It's called the primacy effect. Primacy effect basically means you remember the thing that you first heard about something. So as things change and as your mind shifts or as like trends change, you still continue to remember things how they once were. There is absolutely no purpose for this in the slideshow, except I just wanted to prove you guys don't know what a yellow yield sign looks like. Next. Cool. Let's talk a little bit about what you're giving away. Who's giving away premium items? Premium items are promotional things, like I hand things out. What do you guys give away to your customers or would-be prospect customers? Go. A shitty calendar. I love a good shitty calendar, I'll be honest. Which one? There's a couple of them. Are you talking about the shitty ones that are absolutely purposeless, like the little ones that just have like the date and you can't use it, you can't write on it, it sticks on a magnet that goes on the fridge? That is the shittiest of all calendars. I love it.
Got from the online people and tape measure.
A tape measure. I used to give away tape measures. I had this awesome. That's not a bad one. So we're okay. So here's what I did with that one. Okay, just to give you an idea, I had a real one, a Stanley one. It's a 25-foot one that a real contractor would do, and I put a sticker that looked just like Stanley with my advertising on it. So the average contractor would think it's a Stanley, so it didn't look like a super giveaway. But it cost me $7.50 when you buy them in bulk, and if it fell off a truck, you know what I'm saying? Which was not a bad price, and the sticker cost. But it really made contractors go, this is a really good giveaway. I like that idea. Any other ideas from the outside public or here? What are you giving away? Nothing. Fantastic, people. Wondering why you're in this class. Okay. I think there's a lot of things one can give away. You can give away, how about this? Keychains. I've heard of it. You give somebody a house, why not a keychain?
We also have
Yeah.
From online
Yes.
organic candle.
Organic candles.
Sounds nice.
Organic. candle.
Okay,
Very nice.
so that's so they can burn it in their brand new house, I suspect, right? Or just why not, right? Organic candles are a great idea. What I liked about the keychain idea was I have a laser pecker, that's what it's called, a laser printer, and you can print anything you want on it on like wood or plastic. So I got a couple of these things. I thought if I was a real estate agent, even though they haven't done business with me, I like these hotel keys from like 1975. It looks like, maybe we're gonna go down to the beach and get like a little hotel. But like you can put whatever you want, like for your next new home might be fun. I'm just thinking there's nothing wrong with taking a old school idea and maybe making it a little bit more hip. What about this? Coffee mugs, you doing it? No coffee mugs. This guy gave me one. His name's Manny. He's a State Farm guy. He says these are the best. I just use it to put my pens in.
Pens are also a giveaway.
Pens are a giveaway. Do we like pens? Pens are not bad. Pens are not bad. I think of them like they're kind of disposable in terms of mentality. I did this. I thought this was funny. Everyone's gone to TD Bank and you get a free pen when you go in there. Everyone knows that, right? So I went in there and grabbed like a bunch of them and I relabeled them with mine. And it says it. It says TD Bank on one side. It says Renew Restoration the other. And it just looked like I stole them, which is the whole plan. Like I wasn't doing. I said, no, It's a collaborative. It's a collaborative is what I tell people. That's what the kids are calling a collab. Anyway, as long as you're having fun with it. Notepads are fine. Like, because you can put it on people's desks. That's not a bad idea. How about we go to the next one? Aha, this is what I've been giving away. You got a knife. This company's pretty cool. They'll sell you all kinds of knives. I got them in green, black, purple, yellow, pink for the audience. What I like about it is that you can put your logo right on there and you can put your telephone number. People are like, what does it mean? The funny thing is it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean, okay, well, you could write anything you want. You could say like, I'm cutting edge. I mean, you could do whatever you want. Or you could say like, I'm slashing prices, right? But that doesn't make any sense, right? Like you're not going to slash prices. You're like, I want to keep that price high. But like you could use it in that way or say it in that way. I just like it because nobody's giving away pocket knives. That's what I was thinking. Like I start giving them away, like I'll take one, and they're great for Amazon boxes. They're great for like if you need to negotiate a little harder, you know. I just say to people, just make certain you like wipe the fingerprints, like and don't leave them at the scene. I mean, let's basics, guys, basics. What else we got? I thought the screwdrivers. It says, "I don't screw around. I sell houses." That could be kind of funny, right? Because like that's like just very practical. This is the kind of screwdriver that inside the handle, it's got a flat head, a small flathead, it's got a Phillips head and a small Phillips head, and they're all in the handle. So like that could be a practical, I'll keep it, I won't throw that away. I don't think that's a bad idea. I think just kind of like coming up with the fun tagline to go with it makes more sense. Next. Cool. Better giveaway ideas. What about this? Anyone doing any customized gift bags or baskets for their house once they've sold it? They sold the house. I got to give somebody something because they just gave me a commission. What are we giving away? Champagne. Cool. All right, got it. Anyone else want gift cards to Amazon, Home Depot? Home Depot makes a lot of sense because they're probably going to buy something, right? Yeah. Amazon, because everything in my life comes through Amazon. I get that. Yeah. Here, there's some high quality kitchen items like engraved cutting boards that are pretty cool, high-end kitchen gadgets I've seen people doing. Custom address signs, you've seen this. Go ahead, flip to the next page, you'll see. So like this. Whoa, home sweet home, Emily and Jacob. Or their number right here emblazoned on the lamppost. Or this. I looked them up, they're not even expensive. Like, I think it's like 20, what are you guys allowed to spend? 25 bucks or something silly like that. It is kind of silly. Like they just bought a big stupid house possibly, and you got a big fat check, and you're like, here's your $25 thing, is what they say. I don't know if there's a lot that you are gonna get killed by with that, but what's the next page to look like, Johnny? So like if you wanted to do like a welcome mat, they're like $24.99. The Naked Woodworks anniversary gift and wedding gift cutting board is about 25 bucks. And also you can just do their address. They're like, there's lots of stuff you can do. I like that idea a lot. Next. Cool. Who's got a name tag? I saw one, two. You didn't wear it today. That's fine. Oh, you do. Got it. Do you guys like name tags? Name tags? Yeah, you do. Well, it's recognizable. It makes people feel comfortable because they might have forgotten your name. You're like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in forever. Yeah, no. All the way from Hasbrook Heights, but used to be in Saddle River. I know you. All right, I met your daughter. I did actually. So one thing I thought was pretty cool is if you want to wear a name tag, and I like them, I think it's great. I've worn them, the magnetic ones are fine. I like this idea. I looked it up online. You can get one that ties to your iPhone through Bluetooth. You can have it message whatever you want. It could say, best realtor ever. I'm just making it up. It could be like, her breath is awful. Like it could be anything you want it to say. It could be like, you could change it on the fly. Like, I totally got to get out of here, right? Like that would be just funny. Or it could just say, Madeline Rapp, Terry O'Connor, Hasbrook Heights. I mean, that could happen as well. But what I liked is also you could take it to another level. You could take an old iPhone, and we were just talking about it. I have so many old iPhones between my wife, my oldest son, and me. We've got like, I don't know, I want to say 9 iPhones, a lot of them, right? But you could change that and turn it into a digital large screen tag if you wanted to as well. I don't know. I've seen it done, kind of clever. Next. Cool. Who's got a digital business card? You don't have one? You don't have one? You know, they're really cheap. You should have one. you want to see mine? Just say yes. That's the only answer here, guys. Yeah, oh, there you go. I like it. Why, he needed a little Jesus. Please hold. I will show you mine. Mine is here. All right. So what I do, and maybe you guys want to incorporate something like this. Let's say you just met somebody new and you like them and you want to send it to them. Okay. So it makes it look like I'm lip syncing. I don't sing, but it looks like I'll sing that track over and over. And if you wanted to, you could change the song, right? But super easy. Why do I do it? Okay, so I think I invested $25 initially, and then there's no ongoing cost. It's always on my phone. And after I saw something, I'm like, that was so much fun. If you have any questions whatsoever, get back to me. Here's my singing business card, right? And they're like, what are you talking about? And they hit it and they go, that is so funny, right? Why not? You pay $25 once, and it's like, I've used this thing for years. People are like, oh, you're the one who did this. Another fun thing I used to do, but then I got sick of it, right? Somebody would say, that's so cool. Can you make me one? And I used to do that. I'm like, I don't want to do that, right? But you could say, hey, I can make you one, because they're pretty easy to do once you learn how to do it. But all I'm saying is, why would I do it? Because I just want to differentiate. That's the plan here. How do I stand apart from the other, in this case, mold guy or odor guy or real estate guy? Just do it differently. Does that make sense? Cool. That's my digital business card. Many business cards are very boring. I'm going to show you a couple of them. You've seen boring business cards. You probably have one. How about this? How about this one, right? This was a white paper when I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. It was just plain. It was plain, right? Whatever. I put a little guy on it. Why not? I'm like, I would hand this, and then he fell off. Gotta get good glue. All right, the people at home, I totally fell off. Okay, I don't know if you're home. You're probably in a business office setting somewhere being really serious, or you're in your jammies eating Cheetos. I have no idea what you're doing. But like you could put like a little gizmo on it, or you could put, I got scratch and sniff stickers. So if you have a bunch of business cards, maybe put a scratch and sniff sticker on it, right from the 80s. That might be fun. Gets it a little more interactive. I used to do this. This was fun just for a day. I tried taking, they're the same size. Trading cards, like baseball cards, football cards, are the same size as a business card. I threw a piece of gum, because back in the day, they used to give a piece of gum when you bought you bought like your cards. That's real gum on there. I don't think it's a great idea. I just wanted to show you could do anything you want, right?
Show them the ribbon.
Oh, I should have showed them this too. Okay, this is what a business card looks like. I hear what you're saying, bro. I'm right here. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Okay, the ribbon. Okay, so I started doing this. I think it's funny. We live in an era where everyone's a winner. I mean, everyone. So I gave participation ribbons with my business card on it too. I thought that was kind of clever, right? But now, just so you know, Amazon's got everything. If you don't want a participant one and you want to like be more glamorous, I got you. These ones here say things like superior, amazing, fantastic. Doesn't matter. They're all participation words. Come on, we all know you didn't win. So it's more of a tongue in cheek, because I got 4 kids and they're all in sports and there's way too many awards. You know what I mean? Fun things that I just want to show you, just why not while I'm at it. It was Easter time, so I was giving out Pez's like this. All I did was I cracked it open, put my name right here, and just gave it to people. Why not? And then I couldn't do that anymore, so I just gave you guys all an old Pez that I got on eBay. So if you're wondering, is that your Pez? No, I got it on eBay. If you're wondering if that rubber ducky that I gave you, that might have been on eBay or Amazon. I have no idea. What other fun things you want to talk about? Oh, have you seen people giving away metal cards? Metal cards, those are cool. They're heavy. They're like thump, right? It kind of feels like this guy's a baller, right? This guy sells mad real estate. Boom, right? Some guy who sells yachts and jets says that's the only business card I ever need. I don't know if that's true. I did a little research. You could try it. I don't know. Next. This is my car. That's true. I have nothing more to say about it. Okay, I do own a lot of cars. Some people are not car people. I am, but I don't have cool cars. I have cars that look like this. I bought a Subway car. It was wrapped in Subway graphics. It came from Connecticut. The guy had 2 franchises, and I thought it was so funny because people think I'm selling or serving up Subway sandwiches. So I just drive around and I put a big bear on top, and I decorate it with different seasons. So this was Valentine's Day, and my friend who paints my shoes painted all the hearts on there. I do it just for fun. Why the heck not? But I tell you this because there's really a segue. You're like, I don't need a subway car. And I get that.
You think your kids sit in that car for
My
school?
kids don't want to be in that car with me. I'm going to tell you something right now. There was a time when they were young. All right, I'm going to give you a true story. This was really recent. This happened last week on a sunset pirate ship, okay? It was a pirate ship because I got a bunch of kids. We thought, that'll be fun. I started dancing. They started going to all parts of the boat. Like if they could have jumped into the life raft, they would have. I'm not making friends with my kids right now. Next. Okay, what about this? I thought. If I was in real estate, you glad I'm not, because I'd crush you guys, right? This is what I would do. For less than $1,000 on top of what your car cost would be, you could build. It's so hard to see. Holy cow, it's hard to see. Can you not see it? Because it doesn't look good here. There's a white post here, a white post. It's actually a for sale sign, and I just put a jumbo one on top of a truck. I thought if you always looked like you were carrying a for sale sign with your big logo and your name, it would always look like either A, you're in the marketplace and you're selling, or you're just bringing another one to another house. I thought if you just drive around all the time, it would be hysterical. A jumbo one that you're like, people would start talking about it. Maybe at first they're like, come on. Then eventually they're going to look you up. How much does this guy sell, right? I think you could just do anything you want. As a proof to that, I use ChatGPT to do another one. Go ahead. Bam. Okay. Who loves ChatGPT? Raise your hands. Yeah. It's my crack. ChatGPT is so good. I didn't believe it at first, and then I tried it, and I use it every day, right? Every day. So I guess I'm a habitual user. Is that what we call that? So here's what I asked it. I said, give me a couple of different wrapped vehicles. Make it look like I'm selling tons of real estate. Wrap a vehicle in something ridiculous, right? And this is the 3 that they came up with. Top seller sold, right? Faster than the rest. This one here, house hunting. It looks like it's crazy, right? It's got this thing on top. But this is the one I actually like the most. Are you ready for it? I sell houses like hotcakes. I think the only place they went wrong is put a jumbo couple of pancakes with syrup sliding off of it, and you drive that around. That's hysterical. You may say, oh, that doesn't fit my image. I want to be professional, and I get that. But some people will want to just be prim and proper, which I used to be. Some people might want to grab attention. I bet you if you did something fun like that, there would be no way people could avoid you in traffic. I mean, no way. So I'm just saying, I'm giving you all sides of the spectrum. You could do little things. You can give them a participation thing. That's easy. You could wrap it with pancake sauce if you want, if that's what you're into. Where'd my guy go? Holy cow. It's like I do everything around here. Cool. Now, I need you to know that I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. Before I ever got into this industry called restoration, I used to be in advertising. When I was trying to get into advertising, I did anything and everything to get people's attention. Now, most of the things I'm going to show you were things that I did to get jobs. I successfully was able to do this. I had a friend, this is 20 years ago, a friend of mine, he's a private chef. He was a very successful private chef in New York City. He once told me, I'm getting this new job, it's paying me $120,000. I was eating breakfast across from him and I was making $60,000. And I said, what? This guy's like a year older than me and he's dumb. And I'm like, what? How is this possible? He's doubling my income. But he inspired me that day. He said to me, yeah, I just went in there and I showed him my skills and now they offer me 120. And I said at that point, I'm going to make $120,000. And I promise you, there's no lie here. I went out with the plan that I'm going to get a job and I'm going to get 120,000 because if Ray can do it, I can do it, right? And some of these ideas unfolded in that attempt to get to that. And I did actually do what I set out to do. But here's something. I once went into New York City with this, carrying it up in an elevator, 17 floors, and I made it look like I was just a, what do you call it, a courier? Because I didn't want to look like, I made it look like I was a courier. I'm not the guy, the guy behind me is the guy. And I handed it to him and I left, right? Totally true, right? The early bird gets the interview. This one here, sick of hiring the wrong candidates. That can work. Sick of hiring the wrong real estate agent. And I gave them, what you can't see so well is these are air sickness bags from airplanes all over the US, right? But I don't want you to think that's where it has to stop. You can do sick of anything. You can throw these little guys, some of them are Advil, some of them are Tylenol, throw it in the mail, and they open it up because this is what they call like lumpy mail. Lumpy mail's interesting. What's in here, right? You throw it in there. Maybe you'll spend a little more at postage. But 6 of hiring the wrong realtor. Couldn't you give that to somebody who's trying to sell it on their own, right? There's lots of people trying to do it on their own. You hate those people for sale by owner. You hate those people. I know what you guys are up to, but why not? Next one. Geez, where did he go? Bam. I want you to believe I did this. Guess who needs this job? But it could be guess who needs this, whatever, you know, fill in the blank, right? I took an actual guess who, and I put a bunch of dumb photos of myself on there, and you leave it with somebody. And with a business card, do you think you wouldn't respond to somebody who sent you a ridiculous guess who thing? I got an interview. That's all I'm going to say. And this one says, in today's market, you have to wear a lot of hats. It was a hat box with a bunch of crazy doll hats in it, right? That's what that is. Bam. How about this? This is just funny for old people. This is a floppy disk. They don't make them anymore. They don't fit in computers. It says my resume is on there. That's still funny. This is clever. You take 2 different things, FedEx and you take UPS. You bring they give them away. I cut them out to make it look like this, and it says you must be fed up with, and then that could be going out to people trying to sell their own real estate, right? It's an idea. Just want to give you lots of ideas. This got me a job in a magazine called Stuff Magazine about 20 years ago. I sent this to somebody. It was a milk carton. Do you remember when milk cartons used to have people on it? Missing children? I decided to be a missing child that day. Put all my stats, like where I went to college, date of birth. You know, if you haven't met with him, you're missing out with like the wanted sign on the bottom. Very fantastic. What's wrong? Oh, hold on 1 second. Sorry, sometimes work takes precedence. And then old school phone, my skills are off the hook. I once sent this to somebody. It says resume inside. You bash this. If you can't tell what that is, that was a blow up balloon that also was a piñata. Inside was a bunch of candy. Candy fell out. My resume fell out. And somehow they called me in. This is just plain funny. So you take a piece of paper from Michael's, you know, Michael's, that store. And there's lots of paper. They're square. They sell them in every different color, jelly beans. This one was hay, and I thought it was funny. So I cut it to look like an envelope, and I turned it into an envelope that just says, hey. That's it. You don't have to get super complicated, I've come to realize, because I'm not all that complicated. This one says, I'm a little grater. It was a small cheese grater. I put a bunch of shredded cheese looking paper in there and sent that to somebody. During Easter, this is fun because right now they're probably really cheap. Get some peeps that says, you guys sound like my kind of peeps. Not a bad idea. How about this? You're like, I wouldn't do any of that. That's fine. I'm giving you a lot of ideas that you will never use, and that's cool because I'll do it exclusively. This is just fun. You take a photograph in a place and make the photograph be the thing that you want to send out. Because photographs are cheap. You print them over and over. They're 8 by 10. This one says, I really need my own desk. And I did this in Staples with a guy shopping here, and I got kicked out about 5 minutes later, but I set up my picture frames of my kids, and I made it really look like I live there. Why not? Because, like, you know what? Staples doesn't have that much fun going on over there, right? But I really did get kicked out. That did happen, and that really is me. I did this one because right down the street from Staples, same day, same photo shoot, is this horrible, horrible thing. I'll show you in a second. Despite the outward appearance, I'm no diva, right? And then I did this one. This is what it looked like. I just renovated and sold my bed and breakfast franchise. This is it. This is the one, right? This is a horrible thing. Was sitting on Edgewater on like River Road. And I said, that's fantastic. Of course, I've looked better. I've looked better in my life. I don't care. I don't care about it. Right? Look at the shirt I rocked. Okay, come on. Now, this was just something you do. Sometimes you have to take advantage of stuff. Props. You believe props are good? Props are fun. People don't expect props. This was a broken briefcase. I know it because there's no clasp here. You see, no clasp. I just sent them a broken briefcase that said, I'll be brief. Let's meet, right? You could do that anytime you want. This one I tried to get on Oprah. I did. I didn't get on it, but I tried to get on it. And I used this. So you got a fan, right? Fans are fantastic. I can't even believe I did this stuff. Okay. So I went to Walmart. Walmart's got a 20-inch box fan. They'll still sell it. It's a little bit more expensive. It's like $22. totally worth it. But if you just sent them a box with a fan wrapped around the box, they're going to be like, what the hell is this? So what you do, just in case you're really taking notes, nobody's taking notes. You cut open the box, you turn it inside out, and now it's just a brown box. Now you send it, and they're wondering, what is this jumbo thing in the mail? And it just says this with those big letters that only teachers are allowed to use on like their poster boards. I'm a huge fan. You can send that to anyone and get a reaction. Have we lost everyone online? I'm just curious. Is anyone still here? I have no idea. This is the one thing that to me is my favorite. It's what I call the piece de resistance for this reason. I was trying to get in with Unilever. Unilever is a big company. You may have heard of them. They have Dove. They have, I can't believe it's not butter. I was trying to get in with the butter division for advertising. Totally true. I was selling to them and I couldn't get their attention. For 3 months, I emailed and called and it went nowhere. And then I decided, because my multi-unit fax machine stopped working, I decided to use it as a prop. I cut off the cord, put it in a box. Hey, I top loaded it with paper that had a huge font. It said, your email inbox was full, so I thought I'd send you a fax. That's what it said. And I mailed that sucker to him, right? And I know it worked because the guy who was a ghost, the dude was a ghost for 3 months, called me and goes, what the hell is this? I am not lying, and it took him 7 minutes and 22 seconds from the time it was delivered at the location to call me. You know how I know? Because FedEx is time-stamped. And I said, so now I got your attention, and that is exactly how that started. I am not suggesting you do this. I'm just saying that there are people weirder than you and I that are doing things to get attention. And I never got arrested. I've never been incarcerated for this. I'm just saying that sometimes you got to be more fun than the average person, because that guy was going to continuously ghost me, what I would think for the rest of my life. Next. I think this is fun. You can find these about anywhere. eBay's a good spot. They're little tiny kids costumes, like the ones that I got a cape, right? And it said this, looking for a super job candidate. I've enclosed some of my previous uniforms, like stuff like that. You could do that for real estate, right? Like I'm Wonder Woman. Use like old school nostalgic things that everyone is familiar with and use it in your marketing, right? That's what I was going to suggest. Looking for a super realtor. Does anyone like any of this? I'm so zany. I apologize. Go ahead.
What is your elevator speech?
Oh, that's funny. The one where I'm carrying the bird seed up in the elevator, that one? Just kidding, because I actually did that. So what I do is very succinct, right? So I almost always, like if I'm talking to realtors, I have to know what the audience is, because I do more things than just what realtors will need. But when I talk to realtors, I have two things. I am a specialist at environmental testing, and we fix mold problems. And if you have a house that has an odor issue, I can resolve that as well. That's it. I'm only two things, because I think if you give people a soiree of things that you do, it gets really complicated, right? Just succinct. In fact, the best marketing probably of its time was the Apple iPod when it first came out. This was about 22 years ago. I was in New York City in advertising. It said 1,000 songs in your pocket. That was it. 1,000 songs in your pocket. You're like, oh, that makes sense. How do you explain an MP3 player? Like that's what it was called, right? So just try your best to come up with succinct little messaging for who you are and what you do and how you do it well, right? I can't help but always default to, hey, just trust me, but go online and look me up, because if everything online says stuff that supports you and lifts you up, it doesn't sound like bragging. So I always wish that people will look me up, because it looks like I'm bragging. Yeah. Anything else on that slide? I love this one. This is fun. Anyone could do this. It's cheap. You take 3 pieces of board, they sell them, what looks like a doorknob, and an old foot from like a doll, and it says, I just want to get my foot in the door. You can do that to anyone. I want to get my foot in the door. I feel like I'm the only one energetic. Next. How about this? This one is funny. This is what started it all. I have to pause here, turn it back. We didn't rehearse this. You can tell, it's so obvious. Johnny's the best. He's like, what are we doing today? I'm like, don't you worry, we got this. All right, this truly happened. I was 21 years old. I was in New York City, moved from Florida, and I told anyone who would listen, I'm never coming back to South Florida. I'm going to kill it in New York City. I thought I'd be an advertising guy. I thought I was the ideas guy, the creative guy. That's what I thought. I have a English major, creative writing degree. So I go up to New York, and I asked my friend, his name is Dave Rainbow, if you are doing any due diligence. Dave Rainbow says, you can stay on my couch. I go, I'm only going to need to stay on your couch for 3 days. I'll get a job and I'll get a place. I was so stupid. I thought for sure I would totally do this. 3 months later, I'm rearranging furniture near his living room. He's like, what are you doing? What are you still doing here? And I realized I had to get a job. So I left, went back home, was very sad. I was in like a dismal place in my life because nobody that I was applying to was wanting to give me anything. They didn't want to give me an interview. They didn't want to talk to me. They didn't take my phone calls. And for 3 months, I really tried to get a job in New York. And that's before this all happened. So I talked to my mom and she goes, do you know what might help? Why don't you go across the street? Kim Johnson, who you know, used to be in hiring and recruiting for years. In fact, she worked in human resources for a decade. She could help you. And I walk over there. I'm like, Kim, can you help me? I'm like, I'm really struggling here. And I showed her my cover letter, showed her my resume. She goes, it looks pretty good. And I said, this isn't working. Has anyone ever done anything outside of the boundaries of this? Because this isn't working for me. And she stopped for a second, and then she smiled, and I knew I was going to get something good. And this is what came out of it. She goes, well, there was this one time I got a ransom note. What? Crazy ransom note? You can send those? Where do I sign, right? I said, you have to explain that. I don't quite understand that. You're looking for a job, you send somebody a ransom note, kind of does, it's got a disconnect, right? She says to me, so this is what she described. So when you make your own cards at home with kids, you buy a piece of construction paper, you cut, you fold it in half, if it's a ransom note, if you remember back in the day, they couldn't trace the ransom person because they cut letters out of magazines, right? So they wouldn't figure out your handwriting. So it's a really clever concept. So I cut out all these magazine and I eventually made this because it was exactly what she said the guy did. This, you got to turn it, Johnny. This, I better hear back from you soon or else the kid gets it. It was just a goat tied to a tree. So it's obviously a joke, right? And I said, oh, you can do anything. That's what started this thing. And I apologize now because this is who I am. But at the time, I was doing everything like everyone was doing. I was really buttoned up. I was really trying hard. And after 3 months, I had no job and I'm still on his couch. So I said, I'm going back with this new information. And on the plane, it was JetBlue. I come back. I said, I'm really getting out of here in 3 days. So on day one, which was Monday, I took the 5 companies I most wanted to work for, which were all magazines. They were like FHM, they were Men's Health, they were Stuff, they were Maxim, and Playboy. Those were the 5 I can remember to this day. I gave every one of them a ransom note on day one as like an homage to this great idea. On day 2, I gave them a milk carton that said I was missing. And on day 3, I gave them like a clock or something. I can't even remember what I gave them. And on day 1 is Monday. They get the mail probably Tuesday. On Tuesday, they get the one from the day after. And then finally, by Friday, I had 4 people calling me back and 3 interviews out of 5. I'm telling you, dude, you can't believe it. You would never think a ransom note should work. But then somebody will always say, because there's an naysayer ever, yeah, that's because it was like 2000. You know what happened in 2000? Crazy shit was going on in 2000. People weren't getting mail in the mail because at that time, we just had the whole thing going on with like the, whatever you call it, what is it called? 9/11. 9/11 happened too. And Y2K probably didn't help, right? So I think this stuff would work as much now as ever before. I don't send things in the mail as much. I honestly use my personality and I walk into doors more often. I feel confident that I don't feel anyone's going to rattle me. If you get to a point where you feel you will not be rattled, you will not be rattled. I go into offices, sometimes I go into 8 appointments a day, and many of them are cold, and I make friends. I look at it this way. I'm coming in today, and I'm going to make friends today. And almost always it works out. It's an optimistic mindset, and normally people don't rattle me. Everyone who says, like, I wouldn't do that, okay, then maybe you're cool with where you're at. But if you don't try, you will not get better. And I only learned that after doing it a bunch. I hope this helps. I hope this gives you some understanding, some framework that whatever you're doing is fine, but if you don't want fine, maybe you have to change it. Does this help? How about some questions? Is there any questions either from the audience out here or audience here? I'm happy to answer them. Cool. Awesome. I appreciate it. I don't know what you guys were expecting. Here's the thing. When you put together something and you call it out of the box marketing, you don't necessarily know what that's going to be. I didn't know what exactly you were ready for. And somewhere in between is where it ends up. I made this thing and I presented it a few times. I normally get good reaction. If it seems over the top, that was okay. My intention was I will give you so many ideas that you can just decide what you want, right? More like a smorgasbord. Like there's some stuff up here I didn't even talk about. Some things that I think are fun. I was telling some people before, you can get old school phones on eBay for super cheap, like a BlackBerry. You could give them away or you could use them in such a way that could be really fun. I'll show you an example of one way I do this. Does anyone remember the Fisher Price telephone? It's been sold since like 1962. It looks like this, right? So I give this away with this little box that says this. I don't know if you can read it. You can call me on my mobile phone. And I put my little business card on it. It's obviously a mobile phone, but you could do that with any prop ever, right? I got this down here. No one's even seeing it. Like you could just send somebody this, just like, what's a business card? What does it mean? I don't know what it means. I just thought it'd be funnier, right? You could do so like I got this for my kids, and then its head fell off. But I think it's funnier that its head fell off. You could just send this in the mail. What does it mean? I don't know. I don't think you need to know what it all means. But this is more clever. Let's say you've just got gum, right? I had gum, and I say, I do a little bit more. I do a little extra, right? That's it. That's it. It's just gum. Now, the problem is it's kind of disposable, but would they keep it because it's clever? Maybe. Here's an idea that I absolutely love. I want to share with you because I think you will love it as much. This is how well I remember things that impacted my life. Okay, I told you about when I was 20. Before then, I was you're not going to believe this because I'm a little weird, but I was the president of my class. Before I was the president of my class, I was the vice president of my class. So my freshman year, I'm invited to a leadership council, and I'm now 13 years old. You wouldn't think so, but mathematically, I graduated at 17. So yes, I was 13. I went to this leadership conference, and this one speaker blew my mind. He was fun, he was hysterical, and I said, wow, I'd love to do that one day. And at the end of it, I rushed up to meet him, and I said hello, and I wanted just to know who this guy was. And then he looked at me, and he goes, hey, man, do you have any ID? 13, right? And I'm like, no. He goes, how about a major credit card? And I go, no, I don't have any of that. He goes, and he gives me two of his business cards. One said any ID on it, and the other one said a major credit card. I still to this day remember it. So I plan to print out business cards that say things like that, where people will just go, I'm going to keep it because it's funny. I had it in my wallet until college when it got stolen. That's totally true. I just kept it. Why wouldn't you do things that can change people's perception of what they believe is like normal, right? So this is like the stuff that happened in my life that made me a little bit more oddball, but I think all together cultivated a pretty cool guy that people can relate to. So that's my plan. Like, and one last thing I'll just say about my business, if you care to, I never ever implore scare tactics. There's plenty of people that use fear as a motivator, and it sucks when you're selling a piece of real estate and you know that certain inspectors coming in because he's got a reputation and he always uses fear, and they say things like, oh, this is black mold. They just say stuff like that when they didn't test it, and they like scare the parent. They scare like the mother with the baby, or like she's like, I'm never buying this thing. You're like, you just killed this deal. You know that guy. I try to de-escalate everything because anything from a mold standpoint can be resolved normally in 3 days. So just remember, I'll always just be a advocate for you. I don't even charge for inspections. The only thing I ever charge for is if you need lab testing. If lab testing is required, it's a third party that does it. They charge me, so I'm going to charge your clients. But other than that, I think it's the fairest deal you can have. You have somebody who knows what they're talking about, has a good reputation, that can help you cement the deal instead of making it blow up. You know, that's kind of the way I want to talk about it. I hope this helps. Cool. I'm done. I got nothing. I got a lot, but nothing, you know what I mean? Yeah, sure.
And that's on your desk, but it's there for when you need state law.
Hmm.
So that's the reminder for any of us in this room. They don't need us until they need us. They don't need us.
It's same for me. They don't need me. They don't need me
No,
until they need me.
actually, yesterday I got a call.
Yeah.
House in Oakland.
Yeah.
And another house in Ramsey. So I do need you.
Cool. Where were you all those other weeks? I'm just messing with you. Totally messing with you. I hope this is fun. Other questions off air, because we're off air, right?
No.
Oh, we're still on. Okay, any other questions? I'm happy to answer them. Did you like my formal attire? I just got it yesterday. I'm like, they're not ready for it. I wasn't sure if I should wear it. He said, really? And I said, then I definitely nailed it. That was my litmus test. If he hates it, it normally is gonna be green lighted. Johnny's always wearing a tie and I'm always the schlep. They're like, and it always looks reversed. They always look to him like the owner and I'm like, what do you wanna do, boss? I just think it's so much more fun. Other questions? Come on, hit me. Any questions?
Transition from marketing, this is marketing, but how you transition to the mold business?
Yeah, it's so weird. I probably shouldn't have because I was doing so well. No, I'm just kidding. What happened was I really okay, I have 4 kids. My first son is 18. 18 years ago, I was going into the city for like 7 in the morning to 7 at night. I would get on the train in Allendale, 7 to 7. It was horrible. I never saw my kid. So I had to create a business that I could do from my home possibly, or I could stay in New Jersey because I was sick of traveling because I didn't know I'd have multiple kids, but I thought that might happen and I wasn't seeing them. So I had to do something different. So what I originally did was I sold people stuff for them online. I did a lot of commercial equipment. So like trailers and tractors and things that people had, they had too much inventory. I was really able to sell it really well. I'm a good salesman. And then it eventually became, I sold a guy who stuff for him and he owns a restoration business and I fell into this industry. And I just turns out I like it a lot. That's kind of a weird story, but it did happen that way. Other questions?
But that's an important story because a lot of people come into the second career.
Yeah.
And how to transition successfully.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing.
I think the one cool thing that I bring to the table only is that when most people assume the mold guy is going to come in and talk to them, I ordinarily assume the expectation is pretty diminished. I'm just being fair. Like not everyone goes, dude, this guy's going to be fantastic, right? Because they don't assume that I have a background that I have. And so like, they don't expect me to be energetic. They don't expect me to be maybe as articulate. I don't know. It's just like, I used to do corporate things and now I do it on a much smaller scale. And I think it's more fun this way because I surprise people more often. And the shoes don't hurt, right? Like you gotta rock some cool painted shoes. And the other thing is I was sick of going into CVS because I was sick of wearing suits. Now I don't wear suits anymore, except for this fancy outfit. Any other questions? Change?
Any questions online?
Cool, they're on. Peace out. Rob.
Okay.
Thank you, this
Thanks
is fun.
everybody online.
My pleasure.
Thanks everybody in the room.
It's a Bluetooth banana phone. So you could take a phone call, just hold on a second, and it's connected to your iPhone, and you could talk to them. It's kind of fun to like, you can be serious. I have to at least show you all the stuff I brought. And the pager is helpful because people wonder if it works. And I don't think you can get a pager to work anymore. But I sometimes just rock it because I want them to wonder what's going on there. Okay. That's it. I got nothing else.